Hi, this is Cari Kelemen with Talk to Me, and on the line today we have Nancy from Venezuela. Nancy, how are you today?
I'm okay. How are you, Cari?
I'm doing just fine. Tell me, how long have you lived in Venezuela, and how long has it been since you left?
Well, I left when I was very small. I was very young. I went to Venezuela. I was about 6, 7 years old. And I grew up there in Venezuela many, many years. And I just came to Canada a few months ago.
So you're in Canada now. So just you've only been in Canada a couple of months. So tell me, what was the political situation like? We hear on the news a little bit about Venezuela, that it's in great political upheaval. Can you kind of fill us in on what's going on in Venezuela right now?
Well, yeah, basically there's a very strong clash with the institutions because they don't have they don't work by themselves,
Okay.
right? Like there's no autonomy.
Mm.
They're ruled by one person, that would be the president.
Okay.
They don't respect the autonomy of each legislation, like the Congress, the legislation. It's all like in one combo, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like in one package. It's ruled by one person. They don't respect, like one Congress, that's like one office. The governors, that's another issue.
Okay.
So it's all like one person rules everything, and that is not legal.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's
and,
against Venezuela's rules for it to be run that way, right?
Well, yeah, obviously it is. Obviously it is, and it's been for a few years now that's been going on like this, but disguised, you know, in a very disguised way.
Okay, so Maduro is the current president, and it was Chavez before him, and Chavez died when?
Well, under the table, the rumors that people would find out he died approximately in December.
Okay.
There's a confusion there because they didn't really say the truth about this. They extended time and they said he died in March because they just wanted to gain time.
Wow.
to study strategies and what, you know, they would do from then on.
Okay.
So that gave them like 3 months of time to think about everything they were going to do.
Right. And so Maduro appeared to be elected, but what do you think happened?
Well, people really voted for him because it was like influenced by Chavez. Because a lot of people really liked him. He was a very charismatic person. So it was influenced by him. And I think that had to do a lot with people's votes.
Okay. So when I look at the news and I see things about Venezuela, the images that come to my mind are empty grocery store shelves.
Yes, definitely.
What is happening?
Well, everything is about corruption. We understand that, okay? Sometimes it's dangerous to expose too many things and talk about things that you're not like maybe supposed to say. I'll be very open about this subject because I'll give my testimony. It is true. There's a very, very shortage of food. Not only food, I'm a person that I have diabetes, type 1. I inject myself insulin. And basically, not only myself, but a lot of people that have, you know, this type of condition, we need medication. And unfortunately, you just cannot find whether it's medication. I would have to stand on lines for hours and hours. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 hours. Some people would just stay overnight. They would take their little chairs, just stay there. And even sometimes some people would like the buy in the lines. They would say, okay, I'll give you some money. You make the line for me. I'll come 2 hours later.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So things like this happens, you know. Okay, I'll give you some money. You can make the line for me, and I'll come back in a couple of hours.
Okay.
And it's a way of people trying to resolve to make this line in one place, and then trying to make a line in another place, right?
So the lines are caused by the shortages of food? So,
Yeah, because of the shortages of food, but not only that, because when this started, they started to classify to buy these type of groceries and foods by numbers of your ID numbers. For
okay.
instance, my ID number would end up like number 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would only have the right to buy on Wednesday and on Saturdays.
Oh my goodness.
So it would be only twice a week that I would have the right to buy at least the basic needs. But the worst thing of all is that even though you would make a line for many hours, sometimes you would just get there, you would be closed, and they would say, "Oh, the merchandise is finished, no more." So
Oh
so you
no.
wasted 3, 4, 5 hours of your day.
Mm.
So the issue is whether you work or you make lines,
Ah,
because you need a salary to survive,
right.
right? So how are you going to be able to work, right? And how are you going to be able to make the lines to buy food? So that's very like unbalanced. I mean, it's something really outrageous.
Right. Do people hire people to stand in line for them?
It's not like hire. It's like maybe friend wise. Like, okay,
Okay.
give me some help.
Mm-hmm.
I can pay you some money. You can stay there for a couple of hours. I'll come back. It's a way of like resolving the issues independently of whether it's the person's going to be busy, has to do something, has to work, and is
Mm-hmm.
going to come back later. So it depends.
Okay. So you're having to wait in line for groceries. Is there anything else where queues form for anything? Gasoline or
Well, yeah, for gasoline, that was about a month ago. There
okay.
was a big issue with the gas, but that has been apparently resolved.
Okay.
But basically, not only about food. I mean, let's talk about the bakeries. The bakeries, they don't make enough bread, and they're being pressured by the government to make breads with the flour, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they're having losses because they're not having any benefits. Like, how can you maintain a business, right? A
Mm-hmm.
bakery,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna have losses,
You can't.
right?
Yeah,
So
you
you
can't.
so you can't. So you're making bread, right? You sell
Mm-hmm.
it so much to the people,
Mm-hmm.
but even though you're having losses because you can't cover, like for example, the salary of your employees. So that's why it become an issue because then they would have to make a personnel reduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say out of 7 employees, it ended up with 3, and only 3 people would be able to work in the bakery because they just cannot pay the salaries because they work based on losses. And a lot of stores, they've been closing up like that because they just can't manage. They
Okay.
don't produce enough.
What's causing this? I mean, what is causing the economy to be in such bad shape like this? Is it all government corruption?
Um, well, I dare to say that yes, there's a lot of things are being involved here. I'm not saying only corruption. It has a bad name. They're talking, in fact, I heard the news about it. They're talking about narcotics, they're talking about terrorism,
Mm-hmm.
and all these subjects that, it's dangerous to talk about these things because you need to have like a base. And I'm not a journalist to know very much about this, but I know what I've heard, that all this has to do with a background, like with narcotics, with terrorism,
Mm-hmm.
with other countries, and obviously, yeah, with the oil company. There's no dollars. It's bankrupt, and
Mm-hmm.
they just want to disguise everything.
Mm.
They're scared that this comes to the light because they know there's going to be somehow some justice, whether in Venezuela, whether in international justice, wherever, or even divine justice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's going to come one day. So they're scared to leave this power. They just want to stay there. They're scared because they know there's a lot of things that really, make them guilty about all these things that's going on.
Okay, so I'm hearing in the news today that Maduro is arming civilians. Can you tell me what's going on there? Were they de-armed? When? Why are they rearming them? For what reason? Can you talk about that?
Well, I have like 3 months since I left Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And a long time ago, these armed groups,
Mm-hmm.
they were already being armed by the prior president. So this one, they are, I guess, so frightened to lose the power, and they know they're getting into very deep trouble that they're desperate. So it's a desperate conduct.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if it's a desperate conduct? What do? You try to see other options. So I guess since the some organizations like Guardia Nacional, Policía Nacional Bolivariana, etc., SEBIN, CICPC, they just can't put all these people on the streets and work 24 hours a day, because you're human. You need to eat, you need to sleep. So obviously this is something parallel to the military, right? Because it's like you understand what I'm talking about.
Like a civilian addition to the military?
Yes.
Okay. And
yes.
And for what purpose? For peace within the country, or to keep other people out, or what exactly is
No, it's just because they want to stay in the power. Mm-hmm. Because they know that if they lose this chance, they can go to jail and pay for everything they've done. For genocide, whether it's for terrorism, whether it's for narcotics, whatever. Okay. In fact, Celia Flores, the first lady, her son and nephew, they've been in court for trying to introduce in the United States 800 kilograms of cocaine, or something like that. So I don't know really exactly the amount, but it's around there. So you can just see right there that all these people, military, presidents, vice president, all these people, they're involved, and they had their hands dirty with this matter.
Well, that is certainly a type of tyranny when you're living under corruption, and you can't trust your government to have the citizens' best interests at heart. Nancy, where do you see this ending up for Venezuela? What do you think needs to happen next for the needed change that Venezuelans need?
I think Venezuelan people need support. You know, support from other countries. I think that the support that the other countries have given is not enough. It's not enough because just in 2 years, it's been so hard to lay out this, what they call the United Nations organization, La Carta Democrática, that has been applied. But these people will not respect any laws. They don't even respect their own laws. So they're not going to respect any other laws. So I think Venezuela needs like more international support. And seriously, on my behalf, personally, I think it should be like, I don't know, invaded, the Blue Cross, some army, the Navy, whatever. But these people need to be really helped, and it's urgent.
Right. It's okay. So the number one need, you would say, is food.
Yeah, food and medicine.
Food and medicine are the number one needs. I understand that even simple things like toilet paper are in very, very short supply.
Exactly. And it's about medicine. People are dying. I know. I came anemic. I would eat twice a day, and I wouldn't have the proteins that you would basically need. I would eat proteins maybe once a week, and we all went through that, until I came. But I know people that they eat once a day, twice a day, and people feel weak. Children feel weak. They would faint in their schools because they're not having a proper nutrition. And even myself, I had a malnutrition, and that's why I became anemic, and I'm under control and I'm under treatment. But it's horrible because there's no medication, no food, people are starving, children are dying, and it's really horrible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And so how do you feel, Nancy, when most of the international media has basically ignored the needs of Venezuela. How does that make people in Venezuela
Well,
feel?
I wouldn't say ignored.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are very alert about what's going on in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been, let's say, Venezuela's government, they won't allow the international media to get information, you know?
Okay.
And that's why CNN in Spanish, they've been kicked out. Like TV Azteca in Mexico, they've been kicked out. Because even Mexico, they were donating food. And you know what they were doing? They were selling it to the people at
Oh.
3 times expensive.
Oh, they were raising the price 3 times the price.
Yes,
Oh,
they were raising 3 times the price, and that was a food that was donated by Mexico. But when the president he did say that this was a donation that they made, they right away closed the channel and they kicked them out. So that's what they do. Why? Because they're scared. They don't want people to find out what's going on. So it's not really about the media. It's because Venezuela has not allowed the media to get the proper information.
Okay, so the government's not allowing the media to show what's going on so that no one will do anything about it. When countries like Mexico donate food, the government confiscates it and sells it to their own starving people for 3 times the price?
Yes, that's correct.
This is a mess.
Yes, it is. Very much.
Okay, all right. So if somebody wanted to make a difference, Nancy, if somebody wanted to help out, what would you suggest they do?
Well, personally, I think somebody has to intervene.
And in what kind of time frame? How dire is it, in your opinion?
Less than 24 hours. And I'm sorry I get emotional about it, but this is very serious.
Yep.
Less than 24 hours, because I suffered, me and my son, all this, what's going on.
Yeah.
But if I pray to God, I would ask, God, please let these people be free again and have their basic needs like food and medicine and care and help.
Yeah.
Have a life of quality, quality life.
Right.
And the worst thing of all, Cari, it's that there's no antibiotics. And I'm gonna give you a testimony about this. Before I came, this was like 1 week before I came. There was a lady in the pharmacy. She was desperate trying to find ampicillin. This is an antibiotic.
Okay.
Because she had a urine infection. And I overheard the conversation, and I was close by, and I did ask her, because the pharmacist told her, no, we don't have that medication. She says, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I have 8 pharmacies that I went in Caracas and in other places around the city, and I just cannot find it. So since I overheard her, I just got close to her and I said, excuse me, miss, what medication do you need? She says, ampicillin. I said, well, I overheard you, and since I'm going to leave the country, I have a bag full of medicines, and I do have that medication. She says, really? Do you have it? Oh, how much is it? Can you sell it? I said, no, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to donate it to you. Oh, you're so wonderful. She was almost crying. She hugged me. Thank you very much. So what we did, we went to my house and to my home, and I got the bags. I took my 3 boxes. In fact, she only needed 1, but I gave her 3. And I said, here you go. I'm going to give you 3 because we never know if you're going to need some more. And she cried. She hugged me. She was so happy. She said, God bless you. She says, thank you so much. And that really fulfilled me. If you just give some help to the people, and you give people the quality life, the people will be grateful to you.
Right.
Well,
it sounds like you have to bypass the government, because if we donate to the government, they're going to jack the price up and try to sell it to you. So how do we give to Venezuelan people and circumvent the Venezuelan government?
Look, the government don't even allow the channels of I know there's an international channel for accepting and receiving aid like food and medicine. They didn't allow those channels to be open. They would reject the help international wise because they just want to disguise that everything is just fine, and that is all lies. Nothing is fine. Hospitals don't work. They don't have not even injections. They don't have medications. The people that go into the hospitals, they have to take their own medication. If there are people that have fractures, they would have to wait in a waiting list and see if you can get an operation, and like talking about months and months. And a lot of doctors have left the country, you know.
Yeah, because they're probably like the bakers. They're not even breaking even.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of people have left the country. Students have left the country because they don't see any opportunities in the country for all
so
that.
you went to Canada. Where are the other Venezuelans going mostly? Do you know?
A lot of people are going to Chile, Argentina, Ecuador, Brazil, some of them to Spain. Yeah, basically South America, like Chile, Argentina, other places, Ecuador, Peru also. And a lot of people going maybe to Italy and Spain. I know some friends that went to Italy.
Okay. And so those governments, those economies are doing much better than Venezuela. Why would you say that is?
Because it's well organized. It's well organized, and people have the good intention to help, you know, other people, like let's make things right. That's why Canada works as it works. United States has its system. Europe has its system. It's all about organization. And being like honest.
Yes.
And truthful about what your work is, what you're responsible for. If you do the right job, I think that's when things work out.
Yeah.
Basically.
And at the very beginning, you were telling me that Venezuela, the government in Venezuela is concentrated. It's all.
Yes, it's concentrated like in one person.
Okay.
In one person, not maybe only in one person, because it's like maybe 2, 3, or 4. It's like a very small group.
Okay.
They call them in Spanish los enchufados, because they are like I don't know, these insects, when they grab your skin, they won't want to get off it. They're just there sticking it, like, you know, sucking the blood out of the people. It's just a very plain way to explain it.
Yeah. Of the ticks, right? The ticks?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We have those here too.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Well, Nancy, I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you talking about your homeland. I know you must miss it, and I know your heart is heavy for your country. And so, is there anything else you want to tell our listeners about helping Venezuela, or how they can find out more about helping Venezuela? Do you have any advice on that account?
I really don't go too much into computer programs, but there must be in YouTube like certain programs. Lilian Tintori, she's Leopoldo Lopez's wife. She's been going worldwide, sending the message that there's a lot of political prisoners. And she's been doing a very great job. I admire her. But another thing is that I think it's very important to say something. It's very easy when a person leaves the country and starts from scratch, but you leave that behind. Okay, you can have a good food, you can have a good meal, you can have a good day in another country. But what about those people that you left behind? So you got to be in their shoes, because I was in those shoes before. And not because I came to a different country, I'm just going to ignore it like nothing is happening.
Right.
So I feel very hurt, because obviously I have friends that live there. There's people that I care for, and I'm very concerned. And obviously it's really dangerous to get exposed, because you don't know who's going to be after you afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why maybe a lot of people won't talk about it. And it's I don't know. I think I would have to look it up to see what other channels and what other informations I can get for you.
Okay. Well,
a
very
little
good.
bit.
If and when we find them, we'll put the links below the video, the interview on YouTube, so people can have a look and maybe possibly make a difference. But
Okay.
Nancy, I appreciate your firsthand view of Venezuela, the beautiful country of Venezuela, and the beautiful people from that country, and our hearts go out to them. We appreciate your story and hearing more about the plight there, so that maybe people listening to your story today can reach out and help.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I hope the world hears what really is going on. This is very important. Please help Venezuela within 24 hours.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag 24 hours. Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for your time, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too, Cari.